Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for Make Mine Music, which came out in 1946 and is the third film in the Disney package film era. So by 1946, World War II had ended. There was no reason to continue making these outreach films to Latin America, like with Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros. So what's this about? Well, to just put it bluntly, it's Fantasia Light. Basically, this movie consists of 10 animated shorts just strung up together as part of a concert program. And the movie even opens up like you're heading to a concert, and the movie practically gives you a program before the movie even starts. So like I mentioned last week in my review for The Three Caballeros, Make Mine Music is the only film in Disney's animation canon that is not available on Disney+. So I checked to see if it was available on Amazon via DVD, and it is, and some of them are actually pretty cheap to get, but the shipping time was just too far out that I just didn't want to take the chance and get the DVD, and then all of a sudden I'm late with this review. So I found out that most of the segments are available on YouTube. It just cut up into individual videos. The only two segments that weren't available to watch on YouTube were Peter and the Wolf and the film's finale. But thankfully, I've seen those segments as a kid many times before. So I can officially say that I've seen this movie, but just not in a very traditional manner. So how this review is going to work is, again, in a non-traditional way. I'm just going to go through every single segment in the movie and just give you my brief thoughts on them, because like I mentioned before, this is Fantasia Light, and it just doesn't come close to Fantasia. Like, it's the thought of it ever coming close to Fantasia makes me laugh. So the first segment of Make Mine Music is actually a segment that was removed from the American releases on DVD, and that's the Martins and the Coys. And basically it's about these two hillbilly families just shooting each other and just having this grudge up until the daughter of the Coys and the son of the Martins meet and fall in love, and they get married and are just an abusive couple from there on out. And it's meh. I mean, the idea of an entire segment of people just doing nothing but shooting at each other, I liked it better when it was called Free Fire. Again, that's just me. There's really not a whole lot to say about this segment. The second segment of the movie is called Blue Bayou, and it pretty much is about these two egret birds flying around the Everglades at nighttime as the moonlight is just shining down upon them. And when you watch this segment, you can tell that it's beautifully animated. The animation for this segment is better than any of the other segments in this movie. Noticeably better, because I mentioned Fantasia earlier. Guess what? This segment was actually supposed to be part of Fantasia. It was originally supposed to be Clair de Lune. This segment was already fully animated and ready to go for Fantasia, but it was cut due to runtime. And when this segment eventually made it to Make Mine Music, they replaced Clair de Lune with Blue Bayou. And the original version exists. It's on YouTube, and it is significantly better than this. The third segment is called All the Cats Join In, and it's fine. I mean, not a whole lot happens, but I feel like this segment was trying to draw in the young adult or teen crowd, especially considering that this movie was just 4 years away from the 1950s, when the teens would officially take over that decade. So I guess you could say it's groovy, but it's not really all that memorable. It's definitely more memorable than Without You, which is just lame. The fifth segment is called Casey at the Bat, and it's just weird. I don't know how else to describe this segment, but it's got some really bizarre animation to it. It's not super hyperkinetic, but there's a lot of energy going into it. It's just a weird segment all around. It definitely works as a Silly Symphonies cartoon. The sixth one is called Two Silhouettes, and it's just plain boring in my opinion, which, to be honest, kind of sums up the entire movie for me. Make Mine Music is just flat out dull. Like, I remember seeing Peter and the Wolf and the finale of the movie individually, and I think that's the best way to view these animated segments. To have to watch them lumped together into an hour and 15-minute movie is just a chore, to be honest. But speaking of Peter and the Wolf, that's the seventh segment, and it's honestly my favorite of the bunch. It's a good interpretation of Peter and the Wolf. The animation's nice, the characters have a lot of personality, and that wolf is goddamn terrifying. I watched this segment a lot as a kid, and one of the images that always stuck out to me is when Ivan the cat walks backwards into the wolf. He uses his tail to feel the wolf's belly. Ivan freaks out, and then it cuts to the wolf with this demented look in its eyes as its mouth is drooling and its teeth are showing. That moment right there, combined with the music, really freaked me out as a kid, and it's an image that's never left my mind. Peter and the Wolf is actually my favorite segment of Make Mine Music, and definitely the one that I would say, if you could only watch one of them, make it this one. The 8th segment is After You've Gone, which is pretty much a bunch of anthropomorphic instruments doing nothing, and it's pointless. I really question why this was actually a segment. There are a lot of segments in this movie that you could easily cut out and probably replaced with something better. The 9th segment is called Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, and it's honestly very charming. There's a lot of personality out of these two hats that just fall in love with each other, but I feel like this segment might have been better if you didn't have the Andrew sisters just singing throughout the whole thing. I feel like if there was some more subtle music, it would have been better. It would have been a better short in my eyes, and it probably would have been more subtle, sort of like something that Disney would make nowadays, or even Pixar when it comes to their animated shorts. And then you have the big finale of the movie called The Whale Who Wanted to Sing at the Met, and it's the second best segment of this movie in my opinion. It's a very bizarre plot about the world discovering this operatic whale named Willie, and you have Nelson Eddy not only narrating this segment, but also providing the voices for everyone, including a singing woman and a singing cat, which that's weird that in the first half of the segment you have a bunch of people doubting a singing whale, yet there's a singing cat that's going, "I don't believe it." But much like with Peter and the Wolf, I found it to be very charming, often funny, and it has a lot of personality. And surprisingly, it's a dark way to end this movie, because the last half of this movie is Willie just imagining his life as an opera singer and being this huge success, only to realize that, oh, he was just fantasizing all that, and then he got harpooned and died. That's a pretty dark ending, and a weird way to close out this movie. So it's good, but it's surprising how dark that ending is. So I apologize for the format of this review, but I really felt like there was no other way for me to review this properly than to go over each segment individually. There were some that I liked, some that I thought were okay, and then some that I just thought were flat out dull and pointless. So on a whole, if I were to just lump all these together and give them a grade, I'd say don't waste your money on this. Now, let me re-emphasize this. When I say don't waste your money on this, I mean don't go out of your way to try to find Make Mine Music as a whole. If you're gonna watch these segments, because some of them are indeed worth watching, like Peter and the Wolf and the finale, just watch them on their own. There's no reason for you to sit through an hour and 15 minutes of 10 segments. Half of them are just flat out dull or just uninteresting. And given that we're halfway through the package film era, this is how I feel about this era altogether. It's just very dull, but you can kind of understand the reasoning why they're making these movies. Because Disney doesn't have a whole lot of money to spend on another Pinocchio or another Fantasia. So they just have to make do with what they have and the audience that they have. I might take this statement back the further we go down into Disney's canon, but right now the package film era is hands down my least favorite era in Disney animation. We still have 3 other movies to go, and I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but right now, I'm just not really feeling this particular era of Disney animation. And there you go, that's my review for Make Mine Music. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week we're going to be talking about Fun and Fancy Free. And thankfully from this point on, every Disney animated movie is on Disney+, so it's going to be a lot easier to watch all of these. And now I want to hear what you guys have to say about Make Mine Music. If you've seen it, even if you've seen only a few of these segments, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Hi everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for Make Mine Music. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share me with your friends. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day and take care of yourselves.